Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. This story that I'm about to tell is a crazy one. I'm sure you'll like it. Let's just get right into it. Tuesday, March 16, 2010. 911 receives a phone call at 4:46 p.m. from a man by the name of Deon. Deon was in panic, screaming that his wife had been shot in the face, and the police was sent to his residence. When police got there, they saw a beautiful woman lying in a pool of blood. What happened? Was it an accident? Was it a homicide? Was it a suicide? We're gonna find out. Shari Bethel was born July 30th, 1985. She was born to a loving family. Her whole family thought she was so special. They all shouted to the mountaintops about how beautiful she was and how they were so happy to have her. Shari went to Hunters Lane High School, and there she was known to be very beautiful, funny, and popular. She got a lot of attention, especially from the boys, and one particular boy by the name of Deon was so smitten by her from the very first time that he saw her. So, you know, Shari was used to having all the boys like her, so she really didn't pay too much attention to Deon, especially because she thought Deon was a dork, and she used to call him freckle face to her friends. He was very skinny, scrawny, you know, he didn't have any muscles, he wasn't that cute. So she just didn't pay him any attention. Well, Deon really liked her, so he would try to make himself known. He liked her. He would try to pop up at all the places that she went to, like the mall, basketball games. Like, he just tried to make himself known. She just thought he was a hopeless admirer. You know, she's used to all the boys liking her, so she wasn't that interested. So after high school, Deon actually went into the military. He joined the Marines, and he was stationed over in Iraq. And Shari, she went to Bethel College in Nashville. Well, in 2006, Deon actually ended up coming to Nashville for Christmas break, and you know, Shari was working at a jewelry store. Well, Deon decided to walk in her jewelry store because he knew where she worked and make himself known once again. Well, Shari hasn't seen him since high school, so when he comes in, he calls her by her name, and she's like, "Deon?" And he's like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Oh my god, he looks so different." And he gets to telling her that he's in the military now. He was over in Iraq, and he's here for Christmas break, and right now he's living in North Carolina, and he's stationed at a Marine base there. So she's just so shocked at how he looks. She's very intrigued, and he has muscles now. He looks good. He's far from the guy that he was in high school, the little scrawny kid with the freckles. He didn't grow up to be very handsome, and she wanted a piece of it. So they exchanged numbers. They began a relationship, a long distance relationship. Deon would lavish her with gifts and taking her to nice expensive places. I was like, she sounds like a Leo. And what do you know, that's when I found out when her birthday was, and it's July 30th, so she is a Leo, so I was right. But anyway, he knew that she liked the nicer things in life, so he really tried to impress her. Okay, so they're in a relationship. She's going back and forth to North Carolina. He's coming to Nashville to visit her, and you know, when he would leave, she would get very, very sad because she missed him. They were so in love. A friend of hers said that she would overhear them on the phone saying, "I love you too, I love you, I love you too." So much love in the air with them, and they really, really had a great relationship. On another note, Deon had a passion for guns. You know, he's in the Marines. That's pretty typical of somebody in the Marines to have a passion for guns. Shari saw that he had such a passion for guns. I mean, he has so many guns at his house, so she kind of showed interest in the guns too. And she would ask him to teach her about them and, you know, help her unload the gun, reload the gun, and clean it out. She would ask him to take her to the shooting range, and he would. That became their thing, you know. So Deon could do no wrong when it came to Shari. He literally walked on water, a family member said. Well, after a serious knee injury in 2008, Deon was discharged from the Marines and immediately took a flight to Nashville to see his girl. He told Shari all about what happened and the two got married after that. And Shari landed a job at the local hospital as a registrar. She was in charge of talking to the patients coming in, helping with paperwork, making appointments, and she was known to be very, very popular at her job. And Deon was successful too. He enrolled into the police academy, graduated, and became a Nashville police officer. He was so excited. His family was proud of him. Even Shari's family was proud of him. The two of them began such a beautiful life together. Everything was perfect. They were talking about buying a house. They were talking about starting a family. Like, everything was so perfect. You couldn't get more perfect. So after 3 years of blissful marriage, 911 operators receive a phone call from Deon saying that his wife has been shot in the face and he needed help. He was screaming, he was yelling on the phone, panicking, and they rushed over to the house where they found a beautiful woman lying in a pool of blood with a slow, faint heartbeat. When they got there, Deon was in so much despair. He was falling out on the ground, crying, yelling, just doing the most. Shari was rushed to the hospital, and while she was rushed to the hospital, police tried to calm down Deon. He couldn't be calmed down. He was so distraught. Then finally they sent a police chaplain over to him, and he opened up a little bit and began to tell the story about what happened. Deon explains that they were both off that day and he planned a nice quiet evening with him and his wife. He said they were watching Training Day. He was cleaning his guns, and Shari asked if he would, teach her how to clean his AR-15. He said, "Oh, that's a big gun." I don't know what an AR-15 looks like, so I guess it's a big gun. So he gets up to go get the gun upstairs in the closet, and midway he hears a shot go off. So he rushes back to the living room where Shari was, and he's seen her slumped over on the couch. He said he tried to do CPR because, he had all this blood all over his shirt and on his hands. So that's when he said he tried to do CPR, and that's when he called 911. I don't know, Deon. It sounds like you're lying. Now keep in mind, I don't know if I explained this already, but Deon is a police officer, so if he did do anything, he knows how to plan the crime scene out. Put things in certain places, to make it seem like it would have been a suicide or somebody else's fault. He knows exactly what to say. He knows exactly what to do. He knows what he's doing. But, we don't know if he really did it yet. So he's trying to run this as a suicide. So, okay, we speed up. Shari went to the hospital. She's pronounced dead on arrival. When the family was alerted, they were so heartbroken. Everyone was torn into pieces. Everybody wanted to know what happened with this police officer's wife, who did it, why. There were so many questions. Meanwhile, Deon gets called down to the station so he can be questioned more, and he goes. He really complied with everything the police asked him to do. I mean, he is a police officer, so he knows, exactly what they're going to ask him, so he's prepared. Is he prepared? So he goes to tell his story again. He says that they were sitting watching a movie, Training Day, and he was cleaning his gun, and she asked him, could he teach her how to take apart the gun and clean the gun? So he was like, oh, if that's a big gun, like he said before, okay. And then midway, she gets up and says, I gotta put the chicken in the oven. So she gets up, she put the chicken in the oven, and then she comes back to the couch. So while she gets up to put the chicken in the oven, he says he reloaded the gun. I don't know why he's saying this, but he said he reloaded the gun. So when she gets back to the couch, like, okay, you can finish teaching me. He said he was about to show her how to clean the gun, and as she grabbed it, he said the gun went off and it shot her in the face. So now he's saying that he was there to see it happen. He said at first he didn't think she was dead, so he kept calling her name, babe, 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 are you okay? Babe, talk to me. And she wasn't responding. So that's when he called 911. So the police are like, okay, this story makes more sense because the other story really didn't make sense. So the police decided to ignore the first story he told because they kept in mind that, he was frantic that day, and, maybe that's why it didn't make sense the first time. So they stick with this story now. Also, Deon said that this isn't the first time that she had an incident with the gun. He explained how she shot a hole in the wall before. He said he was not in the house. I think he said he was at work, and she was trying to figure out how to slide the chamber back or something, and then the gun went off and it went through the wall. So police are like, okay, this is verifiable because he said it went through the wall, so they could see the bullet hole in the wall. So while they're still at the house, police are checking all around the house. They verified the hole in the wall. They seen blood on the gun. They seen the chicken in the oven. So everything seems to check out. And plus, Deon was being very cooperative with them. So they really had no reason to believe that he did it. One thing that was weird though is the third bedroom in their house. They went into the bedroom and they saw that it was like a makeshift gun range, like a homemade gun range, where he had like tires, and in the middle of the tire would be a target. And they found out that he was actually shooting guns in the house at the target. So when I say he had a passion for guns, I'm not joking. Like, he really loved his guns. He really liked shooting. He was all about the guns. So like I said, Deon was being very cooperative. He knew that the police had to take his clothes for evidence. He gave him up. Police had to look through his phone. He gave that up. He knew that the police had to dust his hands for a gun residue, and he let him do that. So police really had no suspicion that he was involved. They really thought it was a suicide at that point. Also at the police station, when Deon was being questioned, the police just couldn't figure out why she would pick up the gun. Remember, Deon said that she grabbed it out of his hand. They couldn't understand why she would pick up the gun and accidentally shoot it towards her face. Like, she was shot in the face. They really couldn't figure that out. He said she probably didn't realize that it was reloaded because she didn't see me reload the gun while she was up getting the chicken. But either way, you don't point it at your face while you're grabbing it from somebody else and pull the trigger. So now they are looking at the situation a little bit different. They're not thinking it's a suicide anymore. It sounds more like a homicide. So the police start asking about his marriage. And Deon explains that the marriage was blissful. It was great. They had no problems. They were in love. He said there were kisses in the morning and kisses at night. Everything was perfect. But the family tells another story. The family, when they were questioned, said lately, every time they seen Shari, she looked down in the dumps. She wasn't her happy, vibrant, bubbly self anymore. She just looked depressed and sad and just really bothered all the time. Now, one of the family members said they started to believe that they know why she started being depressed lately. They heard that Deon had cheated on her. But when they asked Shari about it, she always denied it. But she did say that he hadn't been intimate with her in a while. So one night, a family member says they were on the phone at about 11 p.m. and she said to Shari, "Why is the house so quiet? Where's Deon?" And Shari responded, "Oh, he's at the gym. He said he was going to the gym." She did tell the family member on the phone, though, that she found some interesting text messages in his phone. He was sexting other women, about 10 to 12 different women. And when I think about it, he's a police officer. You know, when he's stopping people on the side of the road, maybe he stops a woman, asks her for her phone number, you know, it's not far-fetched. So I do see him having about 10 to 12 different women in his phone. So Shari assumed that he was cheating, but she just denied it. She really didn't want to say that he was cheating. Love is blind. But remember, like I said, the police are starting to look at the story a little differently. They're not looking at it like it's a suicide anymore, but they're still trying to have hope. And they just thought, okay, well, maybe she found out about this cheating and just wanted to kill herself to end everything, you know? But family says no, Shari wouldn't kill herself over a man. She's just not that type of woman. Okay, so the medical examiner's report comes back, and the police find out that the way that she was shot, it went through her cheek at an angle where it's very difficult to shoot yourself like that. So the police are really starting to think this may not be a suicide, but it's possible she could. But like I said, it's very difficult to do. So the medical examiner rules her death as inconclusive because they just don't have enough evidence. So Deon is presumed innocent until evidence proves otherwise. So then police like, okay, let's look into the girls that he was sexting. Because remember, it's about 10 or 12 of them. So they start looking into all the women, and they found out about this one woman who was married. And like I said, when they talked to her, it was found that he pulled her over, and that's how he got her number. Well, they started an affair. So then police are like, okay, maybe she killed her. Maybe one of these women want her life. I mean, they do have a great life. He's a police officer, you know, he's making good money, he's sexy. Maybe they want to kill her to get her out the way because they want to take her place. Okay, so the police are at Shari's and Deon's house, and they're collecting more evidence. And mostly what they were collecting was bills. It was a lot of bills scattered around. They found out that the two were in financial crisis. There were a lot of credit card bills, and the name of the credit card was Shari. And I mean, I know she liked finer things in life, but she just had a bad spending habit. And I think that made Deon very angry. One co-worker ended up coming to the police station and explaining one incident, and she said that Deon came down to the hospital and started to go off on Shari, was very angry and screaming and yelling at her, calling her all type of B's and threatening her and saying, you better give me my GD money, because I guess for the mortgage, she was supposed to pay the mortgage last month or something, and he was mad that she didn't pay it. And he was very angry, and he was just embarrassing her, and she was just like, okay, I'll get you the money, like, you know, trying to calm him down and asking him, can he leave? And one co-worker said that she got so embarrassed for Shari that she actually ended up walking out and going upstairs. And Shari ended up texting her like 2 minutes later, like, why did you leave me down here with this nut? Shari actually thought that he was going to physically assault her right there in front of everybody. That's how crazy he was acting. He was beating on tables. He was yelling and screaming at her. He was just acting so insane. She just wanted him out. So if he was doing all that at her job, imagine what he was doing at home. Deon was just not interested in her anymore. He was very controlling and very possessive though. He knew how beautiful she was, and he knew that she could get another man anytime, any day. He always used to think that she was cheating on him. It must have been depressing being with someone like that. I mean, he didn't want her, but he didn't want anyone else to have her either. The family knew about these things. They wanted her to just get out that relationship because, she, like I said, she seemed so depressed. One day, Shari's mom said she came to the house to visit Shari, and Shari was showing her this hole in the wall, and her mom was like, what the hell? It was a bullet hole. So Shari's like, let me show you something else. So she goes over to the bed, lifts back the sheets, and she sees a hole in the mattress. Her mom then asked her, who did that? Shari, that's a hole in the mattress where your head would be. Who did that? And Shari didn't say anything. She just shrugged her shoulders and just looked off. So then she asked her again, Shari, who did that where your head would be? And Shari just looked at her and just didn't answer. So the mom says in her heart, she knew that Deon did it. Even though Shari wasn't saying that, she knew that he did it. So then police started looking more into the crime scene, and they started saying that stuff wasn't making sense anymore. For example, there was a blood spatter on the front door. But didn't Deon say that she got shot on the couch? Which one is it? So then they took all the evidence to the blood spatter expert. Shout out to Dexter, that's my show. Anyway, they took it to him, and yeah, he made the same call. He agreed with the police. This doesn't make sense. There shouldn't be blood on the door if she died on the couch. They checked Deon's shirt too to see how the blood spattered, and the expert said that it wouldn't have spattered like that if he was sitting next to her on the couch when she shot herself, like he said. Remember Deon said that? So then the blood on his shirt, remember he said that how he got the blood on his shirt is because he was giving her CPR and he was trying to hold her and, like, you know, get her to wake up or whatever. They said no, that was a high impact blood spatter and he had to be next to her when she got shot. So he seemed like he could be the shooter now. Plus Deon is telling all different stories, so they start investigating into the story even more. So remember, the 911 phone call came in at 4:45 p.m. That doesn't make sense because police found out that Shari got off work at 4:30. So how did Shari get off work at 4:30, walk all the way to her car, start the car up, drive all the way home, get out the car, goes to the kitchen, gets the chicken, rinse it off. I know Shari rinsed that chicken off in that sink. Seasoned the chicken, got it all ready for it to go in the oven, sat down to watch a movie with her husband. Like, how does that all happen in 15 minutes? A coworker said that the cooking part, like Deon said, she cooked chicken, she put chicken in the oven. That was a joke, because everybody knows that Shari does not touch raw meat. Her mom would say the same thing. She thought it was so disgusting. She thought the texture, it just bothered her. Like, everybody knows she doesn't touch raw meat. So when Deon says that she put raw meat chicken in the oven, everybody's like, what? So then the Nashville police takes all the evidence and everything to the district attorney and presents their case. On May 28, 2010, a grand jury hands down an indictment for Deon for first-degree murder. So the police goes to Deon's house to arrest him. They said that when they got to his house, Deon walked out laughing. Shari's family was really scared that he was going to get away with it at this point because, you know, he was an officer. He's showing cockiness right there. He must think he's going to get away with it. So if you don't think that Deon is the #1 suspect at this point, I mean, you got to be crazy. Just as crazy as him. So on August 16, 2011, Deon goes to trial for the murder of his 24-year-old wife. In the courtroom, police puts out there that they suspect that Shari came home from work, started changing to get ready for a co-worker's retirement party that was happening later on that evening. Well, then Deon found out about it and he started going ballistic. And she may have said something to set him off. That's when he shot her. And remember, he's controlling. He doesn't like her getting attention. He doesn't want her to go out. He's always thinking that she's cheating on him. It makes a lot of sense. Police say that she was shot at the door and dragged to the couch like a rag doll. It was all staged. Police say that she was shot at the door, maybe while she was trying to leave to go. Well, Deon had a different story. Deon said he was so shocked that the gun went off. How could he be shocked? Let me just say this. How could he be shocked if he reloaded the gun? Like, why are you reloading the gun if she's trying to learn how to clean it and, you know, take it apart? And he said that he tried everything he could do to save her, but it just didn't happen. And he didn't understand because they had a nice evening planned. After the deliberation, the jury decided that he was guilty and he went down for second-degree murder. They said it was second-degree murder because they didn't have enough evidence that he actually like pre-planned this to say that it was first-degree murder. The family was so upset because they felt that he planned this and it was pre-calculated, and they were mad that he only got 18 years. Yeah, guys, so that's the story for today. Did you know it was Deon from the beginning like I did? I always knew it was Deon. I knew it. Thank you for watching.